Hello everyone! Welcome to the third episode of the A to Z Top 100 Dotabuff replay review. In this episode, we're going to be looking at Ancient Apparition. This is the number 5 ranked Ancient Apparition on Dotabuff. He has almost 200 games and over a 70% win rate, so very impressive, and he does play Ancient Apparition as a support. So we'll be looking at his support play today. Also, from what I can tell, this game is on the US servers and it's probably at least 5k MMR on average. So, decently skilled game, and we'll be seeing how this Ancient Apparition player plays his hero. So for his starting items, he bought the Courier, he did buy a pair of wards, and he bought Tangos, 2 Clarities, and 2 Branches. I've looked at a lot of his games, and this is the build he goes pretty much every game. Makes a lot of sense, just the normal support items because he does play as a 5, and Tangos for regen, Clarities because Ancient Apparition's mana costs are pretty high, and the Branches are just nice to round out the build, and because AA has pretty shitty base stats. And it does look like he's going to be going towards the offlane. Ancient Apparition is a support hero that is pretty effective in the offlane. Very good damage and can threaten the safe lane carry pretty well. So this game I think is going to be quite different from the first 2 games. One, because Ancient Apparition is not a very exciting hero to watch. I think it's even less exciting than Abaddon. And 2, because there's very little room for like item build variation. There's some skill build variation, but it's generally accepted that you go Aghanim Scepter every game no matter what. And sometimes you get a Midas, sometimes you get an Urn, but really item build is pretty set in stone. So we're mostly going to be looking at his gameplay and his laning. Those are the 2 big things. Skill build and item build aren't too important. So it does look like he went for Cold Feet first though. This is probably just because he's laning with a Slark. Really easy way to proc the Cold Feet stun. And I suspect that if he was laning with a ranged hero, he would be getting Chilling Touch. But it looks like they go for a kill here. Unfortunately, I think that was a misclick on the Cold Feet. If he did it on the PA, they might have gotten the kill. But mistakes happen. So he does go for a Cold Feet and Ice Vortex. Pretty standard to max Ice Vortex first, no matter what build you're going, Cold Feet or Chilling Touch. And AA is one of those heroes that you sort of want to skill depending on what lane you're in. It looks like they're going for the kill here. Unfortunately, they missed the combo again, so just a bit unlucky there. You sort of want to skill your hero based on what lane you're in. As I said before, if he was with a ranged hero, maybe like a Weaver, he would be getting Chilling Touch most likely. Though I suspect he will get at least 1 value point in a Chilling Touch. It's quite a good spell. And also, since he is the 5 position here, he is going to be buying almost all the wards, probably every ward in this game, and the Courier. So that's another reason why item builds are not going to be too important this game. He's really only going to get 1 item, and that's Aghanim Scepter. Okay, so he is maxing the Ice Vortex, and he did buy the Courier just there. So notice the way that he's playing. He's not being too aggressive, because if he knows if he's out of position, as we see a kill here. Lands the Ice Vortex right behind the Earthshaker. That was very well played, as we see this kill on PA, and I'll talk about that kill right there. If you notice what he did with the Ice Vortex, when you place your Ice Vortex, you want to place it so that the enemy has to run through it. So don't place the Ice Vortex on top of the hero. Place it where you think they're going to run, so they have to run through the entire 550 radius. If you place it on top of the hero, they have to only run the 275 radius, but if you place it where you think they're going to run, like they have to run it through the entire circle, that's double the range of the slow, basically. So if you notice what he did there, he placed it behind the Earthshaker near his tower, so if the Earthshaker was trying to run away, he would have to run through the Ice Vortex completely. And even though I think they would have got the kill anyway, it's just good to secure and make sure that they can't run. See, the PA had to run down because she didn't want to run all the way through the Ice Vortex. And, oh, good fissure block by the Earthshaker. But I think they got the kill here. Just one more hit. Oh, he missed! Oh, that's... I think he dies here now. That's super unlucky. But if you notice, the PA, she was gonna get stunned anyway, but she decided to run down because she didn't want to be near the Ice Vortex slow to run upwards near her tower. So she was kind of forced to take a weird direction because he placed his Ice Vortex very nicely. Spell usage is one of the main things we're going to be focusing on. Alright, so he does get his boots, and he's going to walk back to his lane. And he did get a value point in Chilling Touch. It's just too good of a spell to skip completely, even if your lane is not so good at using it. There's also two kind of stages of Ancient Apparition play. There's his landing stage, which is what you're seeing right here. Being very aggressive, taking full advantage of your high damage, and having a good lane partner to sort of combo. You want a lane partner who can either lock down or can get a lot of hits off with Chilling Touch. So Slark is one of those heroes that's really good for lockdown, so the Cold Feet is going to be pretty effective. And what is this Earthshaker doing? Alright, he's super out of position there. It looks like this PA might be in trouble too. But, so we're going to focus on this landing stage, and then we're going to mainly focus on how he plays around his ultimate. That is the second part of playing Ancient Apparition. He is sort of known as a hero who's a walking ultimate, and there's a good reason for that, because his ultimate is extremely strong. And as we see a gank here. Pretty nice of him to check the rune at 6 minutes and deny it to the mid hero. Something that you can do as a support in the offlane, because most offlaners usually want to stay near their tower for experience, but since you are a support there, you can sort of rotate to the runes. Alright, so as I was saying, we're going to look at how he plays around his ultimate, and that is a big part of playing a good Ancient Apparition. And one of the important parts about the landing stage is you really want a fast level 6. It's not going to be too much of a problem in this lane because he is dual laning, so he's getting decent experience, and he's getting quite a lot of kills and assists. He's already been in 3 kills, so his experience is very high. I expect he's going to get level 6 at around 8.5 to 9 minutes. So it shouldn't be too much of a problem. In some games where you're playing a support Ancient Apparition, like in a tri-lane, a defensive tri-lane, you will usually want to be pulling a lot, and sometimes you will have to rotate to the mid lane when the mid laner goes around to gank or farm, and you just have to sit mid and sap experience. I'm sure you've seen a lot of games where pro players just kind of park their supports mid for experience. As you see, a good go on the PA there. Notice how he also dropped his Ice Vortex right before all the spells land, so that he gets the maximum damage from the Dark Pact and the Cold Feet. It's just good for slowing, maximizing damage, and don't forget it also gives vision, so in case you want to start a gank off, you can drop it for vision to make the gank a bit easier. And he's placing some decent wards. I'm not going to talk too much about the warding. I might do a warding video sometime later, but in this game we're going to mostly ignore it. As we see a go on the PA here. This is not the best Ice Vortex, but I think the kill is going to happen anyway. Unfortunately, the Slark dies. I'm going to try not to point out his mistakes too much, because he is probably a better Ancient Apparition player than I am, and we're here to learn, not to flame. Alright, so he is about to get level 6, around 9 minutes, pretty good. And there's going to be a pretty noticeable shift in the way he plays, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so it looks like he's just gonna stay up here. Maybe he wants the Slark to come gank. Alright. Let's see this gank trying to... Well, he missed the pound. But really good Ice Blast. Unfortunately, they don't have enough mana to chase. And they force a TP at least, so that's something.
Middle tower is now but a memory.
Alright, so the way that most Ancient Apparitions play during the mid game is they'll sort of sit behind a tower and just sort of farm every creep wave that comes near the tower, prevent the tower from being pushed or take any damage, and then they'll send Ice Blasts all over the map. And I suspect we're gonna see a lot of that from this Ancient Apparition player. He actually sends an ulti to the fountain. Maybe trying to catch the starter out. I don't know how low he was. But it can be a pretty big annoyance. Even though it's not like a lot of damage or you're not really doing anything. That sort of mental thing where you send the ulti to the fountain and they have to wait for like another 10 seconds to regen up to full. It can really be effective like psychologically on your opponents. Probably not the best thing to do though if you want to play efficiently. See, because he sent his ulti to the fountain, he doesn't have an ulti for this fight, but I don't think it's too big of a deal. Alright, so notice where he is. He's just sitting mid, and he's looking around the map. There's a noticeable increase in like the movement of his perspective, I want to say. I don't know what to call it really, but just like watching the replay, you can see he's looking around the map a lot more, and not really doing too much with his hero. He's just sort of last hitting, running away from pushing, but looking out for gank opportunities on the map. Obviously right now his ultimate isn't up, so he's not really doing that much, but so he's checking to see if he needs to send an ultimate top, since it's almost off cooldown. Just a good way to keep up map awareness. If you want to increase your map awareness, playing a hero like AA is a pretty good way to train it. So always be mindful of where the enemy heroes are. And normally for a support like Venge or Lion, doing stuff like this where you just kind of sit mid is really, it's not the way to play, but because of the way AA works, this is definitely what you should be doing. And he does go straight for the Aghanim Scepter. We're not going to talk too much about that. Again, rotating to any lanes that are getting pushed in, but no one's really going to be farming. You don't want to take farm away from your cores. Just sort of be in places where you don't think anyone's going to TP in a farm, and you just kind of sit there, prevent the tower from pushing. Another thing he is probably doing that unfortunately we can't see from the replay is he's probably talking with his teammates. He might be in a stack, who knows, but the way you play Ancient Apparition, you really have to coordinate with your teammates, or like to fight around your ulti. That's the most effective way to play him, because you sort of want to make your opponent scared of your ultimate. Like heroes that normally couldn't solo kill you, they can solo kill you if they get an Ancient Apparition ultimate, as we see a nice Ice Vortex to try to stop this push, but it looks like he's a bit out of position here, and he will go down. Oh, he made a really nice play there, so I'll talk about it when this fight's over. The AA dies, but he gets the Troll. That's already worth it for him, and they get the Earthshaker as well, and I think they're gonna get the Phoenix too. Alright, so that was 3 heroes for a support Ancient Apparition position 5. And they're going to get the Slardar too, I think. Alright, so 3 heroes for a 5 position Ancient Apparition. And the play he did there was he threw his ultimate out right as he was about to die. So all 3 heroes who were sort of hitting him immediately just tanked the Ice Blast damage and took the debuff. And the way you just launch your ultimate right in front of you is You press your ultimate hotkey, just press the ground in front of you and immediately release it. And it'll sort of be in an area around you. Definitely will hit anyone who's attacking you from melee range or even a bit more than that. And you want to do that because, one, your ultimate is really low cooldown, so it's not really a waste to just cast it when you die. It's not like a Time Hunter Ravage that you want to save. And always good to just drop as much damage as you can before you die, especially as a support. It's really important. And because he did that, he was able to turn around that team fight. I don't think they get all those kills if he doesn't hit his ultimate on 3 heroes. So very nicely played by him. And looks like he's gonna go ward. Oh, sees the Roshan. He's probably aware of the troll trying to Rosh now. Yeah, he pings it. So I expect he's gonna be scouting it with his Ice Vortex and his ultimate quite a bit now. Yeah, this is something you can do with your Ice Vortex. As I mentioned a little bit before, it does give you vision in a small area around it. So it's around, I think, 300, maybe a bit more than that. But you can use it to scout. Pretty good to just keep vision of choke points, kind of small AoEs. You can also use it to deward. Very good advantage of Ancient Apparition is that where most supports would have to place the sentries on the high ground for like cliff wards or anything like that, you can place a sentry in the low ground to cover more vision, and then just use your Ice Vortex to scout for any high ground wards. So you sort of save sentry area that way. And again, he's sort of de-pushing the sort of lanes that are far away. No one's going to farm. He's away from his team, so his ultimate is going to be really large when it hits the fight. Just normal AA stuff. He's farming pretty well as well. It's maybe because he's been in a lot of kills, but he's buying all the wards, bought the courier, and he's already halfway to his Aghanims at 16 minutes. So, pretty nice. Because of the way AA plays, it's mostly experience that he lacks and not farms. Sorry. He doesn't really lack gold because his ulti gives him a lot of assists. And it's mostly just experience, so him staying in the lane by himself is pretty decent. And notice how he's always going to be scouting Roshan with his ultimate. I think this is an okay usage. I'm not too sure, but he probably knows better than me. Just really doesn't want the troll to be getting a solo Roshan by himself. And he is pushing the bottom lane. Very aggressive. I think this is something that's probably good to do. What this AA is doing right here. He knows that even if he dies, it's probably worth it to just apply pressure on the map, and he is going to get picked off here, I think. Drop the full feet to make sure that the Solar can't chase, but he's able to just run out of it. Really good that he dropped his ultimate right before he died. He actually managed to force out the Phoenix egg, and if this Spirit Breaker wasn't YOLO as fuck, I think that would have been really good. It's still probably okay. But look at what just happened. He was pushing the tower as a 5-position AA, and they rotated 4 heroes, spent 1 ultimate, and they got just a kill on the 5 position. The Spirit Breaker kind of charged in afterwards like an idiot, but what can you do? And I think because of that play, they're going to win this team fight right here. Yeah, the Phoenix has no ultimate, and they used a lot of their spells and mana. So they win that fight right there. And they got the tower also, so very nicely played by him. You shouldn't be too worried about like being by yourself as an Ancient Apparition. One, because you're going to be a very low value kill. That doesn't mean you should go around and feed, but usually you are a low value kill and you deal a lot of damage. It's really dangerous to dive you, and maybe we'll see what I mean by that over here. See, this AA is pushing, this PA is pushing this tower. AA comes to defend, and the PA is just not gonna bother, because even though she sees there like these 3 heroes bottom and She probably saw the Spirit Breaker mid, so this AA is alone. But there's no way she can kill him unless she has BKB, which she doesn't. If she just dives him like this, he can drop a Cold Feet, drop an Ice Vortex, even drop an ulti, and she probably just dies. So you're extremely high damage, even though you're pretty squishy. So it's pretty dangerous to just dive him without any preparation or a good escape. Well, very few heroes can dive AA and do it sort of risk-free. It looks like he's gonna TP bottom. I'll try to help his team. Drop a Cold Feet, drop the Ice Vortex at the same time, so he gets good damage. And it looks like they're gonna get the PA if he doesn't miss. Pretty nice. Notice how he drops the Ice Vortex. Not amazingly placed, but still good enough to save his Alchemist. And good AA blast. He launches it as soon as he sees the Alchemist about to throw a stun, so guarantees a direct hit. It looks like they're gonna get this troll as well. So something you should do that this AA has been doing pretty well, when you throw your ultimate, you sort of want to time it so that any stuns or like holds, like this AA has been throwing his ultimate at the same time the Slark's been pouncing. So the Slark sort of pounces and the ultimate immediately comes afterwards. He doesn't throw it after the Slark pounces because there's a lot of lag time or travel time in the ultimate, which could cause it to miss. So he's been doing a very good job of that. Something that you should be doing with AA ultimate that I don't know if this AA has been doing too much, but when you throw your ultimate, you sort of want to put it slightly behind them. Just because they could be running away or they just could be standing still, but if you throw it behind them, even if you miss by a little bit, at least you get the debuff on them. Oh wow, that's pretty strong. The amp damage into troll ulti combo. But if you throw it in front of them, that's even worse, right? Because you don't get the debuff at all. At least if you miss it behind them, they still get the Frostbite debuff. So it's always just good to throw it a little bit behind them instead of throwing it a little bit in front of them. It's just something you should take note of. Though this AA has been very good about just throwing his ultimate, aiming very well and timing it with stuns, so pretty nicely done. And he is keeping up his warding, so very nice.
Dire's bottom tower is being attacked.
Taking runes, not really a big deal. One problem with AA and his warding is that it's extremely obvious when you're gonna go ward. So if anyone sees you, that is. And it looks like you're gonna go for a gank bottom. This is what I was talking about when I said he's probably talking with his team. The way you want to set up ganks is that you want to have your teammates go in right when your ultimate hits. So as soon as the Slark saw the AA launch his ultimate, he was ready to jump in on the Slardar, and he pounced at the same time the ultimate landed. That way it's the highest chance of success for a gank. But yeah, as I was saying, it's extremely obvious when AA is warding. He's not someone like a Venge or a Lion, who, when you see them on your side of the map, you're kind of scared of them because they might be ganking or whatever. AA is not really a hero that goes on your side of the map to gank. Unless he's with his team, but then you would see them as well. So if you walk past any wards, like going to ward or anything, extremely obvious. So just be mindful of that. Though he is mostly just warding the runes. I guess that's okay. Not the best wards, but what can you do? He is the only support as well, so can't blame him too much. Okay, it's now 23.5 minutes. He's almost got his scepter. I think he actually does have it. And he's mostly been sort of chilling in lanes, de-pushing them and sending his ultimate out. I expect his gameplay is going to sort of change soon. I think one of the biggest mistakes that Ancient Apparition players make, or pub players make, is that they'll do this sort of play for the entire game, and that is probably not optimal. You don't want to be just your ultimate for the entire game. Obviously it's very strong, it's your best ability. Okay, we're gonna see he's gonna send an ultimate here. Fortunately, it's not really too necessary. And I think this team fight is lost. The A is like running there desperately, but yeah, there's really no helping this. But you don't want to be your ultimate for the entire duration of the game. It's strong, but you want to be like placing ice vortexes, slowing people in fights, sort of getting cool feats and chilling touches off to buff your team. Those are all pretty strong spells for team fighting as well, so just eventually you're going to have to grow up with your team, as we see a go on this. Good ice vortex placement, and unfortunately he misses his ice blast, but they do get the kill anyway. So he did force the troll to run completely through his ice vortex, and that probably saved him and gave them the kill. It is a very strong slow. 30% is no joke. And his next item is a Ghost Scepter. Understandable, since he is going to be in team fight now, and they have a lot of physical damage. Yeah, notice how he is actually like running in with his team now. Could be a bit out of position, but yeah, he's gonna die here. Get his ultimate off. He didn't get it off, but I think this team fight's won anyway. The starter did dive a bit.
Dire's middle tower is being attacked.
We'll see
Radiant's top tower is under siege.
how this game turns out. I think this is pretty much everything that playing Ancient Apparition like entails. It's not a very complex hero gameplay wise. There are a few like tricks, like how you place your ice vortex, how you aim your ultimate, maybe some chilling touch intricacies. You sort of want to place your chilling touch when you're hitting heroes, creeps. It works on everything but magic immune and towers, and when you do cast it, it does always hit yourself, so you don't have to actually get yourself in the AoE. See a good ice blast and cold feet, and he's gonna die here.
Radiant's bottom tower is being attacked.
Alright, so I think that about covers it. I don't want to bore you with like a 40-minute Ancient Apparition game, as I've watched the rest of this, and it's mostly just him like casting ultimates and just dropping basically the same thing that's been happening for the last like 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm actually going to end this right here, a bit premature, but I might leave the rest of the game up if you guys want to watch how he plays. So let me know what you thought in the comment section below. I'm sorry about this one. I don't really know what to do about these sort of one-dimensional heroes that only have like this set style of gameplay, but he is playing at a very high level, so it is decently interesting to watch. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys for the next hero. Hopefully it'll be more exciting.